Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1676. Happy 5th birthday to Zephy. Where is she? Come here. You need to get up on your chair. You need to get on your chair so everybody can see you. No, they can just see your ears here. I should have thought about that beforehand. So come here, up here. Come here, turn around. Good girl. Up you go. There you go. Now we can sing your happy birthday. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Zephy. Happy birthday to you. Yeah? Have you had a good day today? Yeah? We've got a birthday biscuit treat here for you too. Problem is I can't do that with you on my lap. There you go. Okay. So we've got a big bite. This is actually peanut butter flavored, and she doesn't like peanut butter, but she'll eat this thing usually. So getting into it's always the hard part. But I give it to her in portions, so she'll get a bit tonight and a bit tomorrow, and it'll last like 3 days. She's sitting over there. Let's see. So we just break off a piece for her for now. Come here. Up. Good girl. Oh, here she goes. On your mat, on the mat, on the mat, on the mat. Come here, on your mat, on your mat. Good girl. Good girl. There you go. All right. So it's Zephy's birthday today, in case you didn't gather. She is now behind me on her mat, eating. I don't know if you can, if I move back, if you can. Oh, you can just see the top of her head there. And of course, I'm on the computer, so I can't tilt it that far. But she's down there eating that, but she may get the whole, no, she won't get the whole thing tonight. So yeah, we've had a nice quiet day today, and we haven't really done much today. It's been another windy day, so I couldn't go pull weeds today because of my sinuses. But yeah, so Zephy's 5. So let's reminisce on the last, let's see, 4 years with her, 4 and a bit years with her, because I got her when she was 8.5 months old. I actually knew I was getting her back in June. It was June 23rd of 2019, and I was sitting down. I was doing my devotion that morning, and I had my Bible open, and the reading was in the book of Zephaniah. And I was going, Zephaniah, Zephaniah, that's a really cool name, Zeph. And the moment I said Zeph, this dog's image appeared in my mind. I looked at it and went, are you Zeph? And the dog looked at me like, well, what do you think? And it was, so I wrote in my journal a page and a half about this dog called Zeph, and it was meant to be male, 70 pounds, German Shepherd mix. So I figured 1 out of 3 wasn't bad when I finally met her. And then I wrote about how she'd be a great travel dog, be smart, a great traveling companion, and would easily learn. It was easy to train, and just a great comfort and that sort of thing. So I wrote a page and a half in my journal about this dog called Zeph. And so fast forward to November the 16th, and I was in Temecula, and I was staying at the KOA in Temecula, which was out in the boonies. It was like 5 miles outside of Temecula. No Wi-Fi signal unless you were literally in the office of the campground. So I had no cell service. I had no Wi-Fi. To do my lives in the evening, I had to drive up to by the office area and sit in my car and do the lives at night from there, so I could pick up the Wi-Fi, so I could get a signal on my phone to do my lives. Yeah, so if you go back to those ones, you'll see them there. So I had decided on November the 16th, I thought, okay, I need groceries and I need to get some work done. I need a Wi-Fi connection to do that. So I packed up and put my computer in my computer bag and my work stuff in there. And I thought, well, they've got a corner bakery. There's a shopping center 5 miles down the road. They've got a corner bakery there. There's a Sprouts. So I'll go there and I'll go to corner bakery, have some lunch, do some work. Oh, it was actually going to be brunch because it was kind of mid-morning. Have some brunch, do some work, and then I'll go to Sprouts, get my groceries, and go home. Yeah, that didn't quite happen. 3 hours later, I was at home, no work, no groceries, a new pup, an 8.5-month-old pup, and a whole bunch of dog supplies. But when I got there, I went to the lights to turn left into the street, there's they had one strip mall here, and then they had another strip mall over here, and this is the one that had the corner bakery with the Sprouts, and they had a big PetSmart right there as well. And so when I turned in behind the gas station that was on the corner, I looked over, and you could see the tops of the the pop-up canopies that you have, and they were outside PetSmart. And I thought, oh, well, they must have an adoption event going on. Oh, let me just go and have a look. Yeah. So I went and parked, and I walked over there, and they had a row of crates along the bottom with puppies and kittens down there, and they had the ones up on top, and Zephy was sitting in the one on top, and right back in the corner, trying to look as small as possible and just shaking like a leaf. It was her very first adoption event, and I looked at her face, and boom, that image from back in June popped into my head. And so I asked them to get her out, and she kept escaping out of whatever they put on her, collars, harnesses. She kept escaping, but they finally put one on her that she couldn't escape out of. And I spent 2 hours sitting there, sitting with her on the ground, just getting to know her and talking to her and giving her love, just loving on her, and got her story in the meantime that she'd been rescued from a mechanic store in Mexico where she was tied up, and her and her brother were tied up and abused. And her brother was not at the event. He had just had his balls, he'd just been neutered and was recovering from surgery, so they couldn't put him out there, but she was already all done. And so then made the decision, yep, going to get her. So filled out all the paperwork and everything else, gave them a donation. And then I had to, of course, go get the supplies, and they gave me a little coupon book. I love those coupon books. And to go in and get stuff from PetSmart. And they said, oh, would you like us to look after her while you're, and of course, I'd named the dog Zeph back in June. And when I found out it was a female, I was like, oh, we'll just put a Y on the end. So that's how Zephy got her name. And they said, oh, would you like us to look after your dog while you go and do the shopping? And something inside me said, absolutely not. No way, no how. I just got a very uneasy feeling about it. I said, no, it's fine. Thank you. I'll take her with me because I need to keep building that bond with her. I was scared that she'd get put back in a crate again and get adopted to somebody else after I just spent all this money on supplies and stuff for her. And so I went in, because she wasn't walking, I'm carrying her. So I go and I put her in a shopping cart, and she just lays down there in the shopping cart. And the first thing I do is I go over to the area where the beds are, and I pull 3 off the shelf that I thought she might like, and I put her on the floor, hold onto a leash, and says, pick one. And she walks straight over to this pink one and just lays on it and just curls up on this pink one. And there was a woman who was watching what I was doing, who actually worked at PetSmart, and she says, I have never seen that done before. I said, well, my past 2 dogs that I've had, I've taken them to the pet store. I pulled off 3 beds. I says, pick one, and they'd walk up and down and sniff them, then go and sit on one. So it's the first time I've had one that's just walked straight up to one and curled up on it. And so she wasn't going to get up. She was comfortable. She wasn't getting off that. So I just picked up her in the bed, put her in the bottom of the shopping cart. And I went to pick up the other 2. The woman's like, I'll take care of those for you. I said, thank you very much. And so off we went to get all her supplies and everything. And looking at the coupon book, is it cheaper with the coupon? Is it cheaper without the coupon? Doing comparative shopping. And so finally, by the time we got up to the checkout counter, this poor dog is curled up in the middle on her new bed with stuff piled in and around her around the shopping cart, and underneath her, I had the crate, somehow managed to get the crate underneath her. I don't know how I actually did that. And she basically stayed there and the whole time. And when we were taking all the stuff out, they were putting the stuff in the bags and that. And I said, yeah, she's not going to get off this bed, but we found the tag so she didn't have to get off the bed. And then I had to pack everything in and around her again to get it out to the car. And so that was like an hour there. And then the short trip home. And then I was like, oh, I need to get her inside, but I also need to get her stuff inside. So I left her buckled up in the car, because I actually got the car harness for her. Left her buckled up in the car, and good mom. And went and bought everything inside, got her crate, and got everything, got the crate set up for her as well. And then brought her and took her for a walk outside so she could do her business, and then brought her inside. And so began our lives together. And the first 2 nights, and I will tell you, this place out in the boonies, it was a Thursday. It was a Thursday because there was no RVs around us. We were in our parking space, and about 7 down, there was another one, and there was one across the other side of the paddock, and there was 2 rows that go in between. So we had a road that went around a loop, and we were on one side of that, backing up against a hill. Then there was the inside piece of dirt, which had 2 rows on it. So one facing us, one facing the other road that was on the other side. And so there's one way over the other side over there. There's one down there, and there's me. And sometime in the middle of the night, like around 2 o'clock in the morning, somebody decided that she had to go out. And she didn't bark, but she just sat there and just started whining. It's like, what's that? And so I got up, put some clothes on, got the leash, took her outside. I had the flashlight with me. I would say this place was dark. It was darker than dark. There wasn't even moonlight out. It must have been like a new moon or something. And this place was pitch black, and it was scary. I don't usually get scared at night when I'm outside, but this was very uncomfortable, very scary. And of course, I'd seen the signs of look out for rattlesnakes, and I was like, great, because we're out in the middle of nowhere. There's a lake around somewhere near us as well. I didn't find the lake. I think there was a parking area for the lake somewhere along the way. I tell you, it was, and so because I was nervous, so she's still shaking that, so she manages to get her stuff done, but she wouldn't pee on our site. We had to go for a little walk down the road, so about 3 or 4 sites away before she'd actually do anything. And this has become a habit with her. Whenever we've been in an RV park, she would not pee or poop on our site. She would go 3 sites away before she'd even think about peeing or pooping. There has been a couple of times that she has actually done it on our site because it was an emergency, because Mama didn't wake up in time, but never in the daytime, which was very interesting. And so she did that the first 2 nights, and then after that she slept through the night. Friday night we were surrounded. The place was packed. So Wednesday night when I arrived, there was nobody there. Thursday night, nobody there. Friday night, packed. It was packed on Friday night, Saturday night, and half the people left on Sunday. But there was still another half there on Sunday. And by Monday, we're back to a deserted campground again. It was unbelievable how many people. They actually sell out Friday night and Saturday nights at this park. And I had never seen so many RVs arriving in one place at one time. And she hadn't discovered the dashboard at that point, but she was happy to put her bed up on the couch there, and she was there. And I kept her in the crate at night. And so that's where she slept for the first, I think it was like 4 months before I sort of like, you can come sleep on the bed. And so we made up her bed there. But the first time that she gets up on the bed with me, I'm laying on my right side, and and it was a stinking hot night. So we had the AC going, and it's doing its best to keep up with everything. And she goes and lays in the small of my back, which gets very, very hot. And then when that area gets hot, I overheat. And I look back at her and I says, you can't lay there. And so she goes up, and she sort of like jumps up and goes and lays by where a pillow would be on, the second pillow would be on the bed for another person, and lays out and curls up. And I said, I realized I'd given her a fright, and I said, I'm sorry, you can come back. And I rolled over the other way, so my back was facing that way, and tried to get her to come and curl up in front of me, but she wouldn't have any of it. And to this day, she still won't curl up with me. It's sort of like a forced thing. Like, put her on the bed, climb up behind her, and just snuggle with her for a little bit. So we've been working on that for the last 4.5 years. Hey, sweetie, was that yummy? Did you enjoy your part of that biscuit for another bit? She loves those things. It's a birthday. The problem is the middle piece on this thing is my scissors. So I began, and so there was just a lot of love going on because she was unsure of anything and the abuse she had been through, and so she's been loved on a lot, and she slowly started coming out of her shell. Come here. She wouldn't go near hey, where are you? Come here. Up. Good girl. Got kisses. Come here. Up. Come here. Wait, over here. Up. Come here. Come get it. Good girl. Here you go. On your mat. On your mat. Zephy, on your mat. Good girl. As long as the food's on the mat. So she'll lay there and eat. So she took ages. She took a long time to warm up to men. And it wasn't until, and some men she was okay with if they had a treat in their hand. She was fine with them. And, but it wasn't until we found our dog sitter that we absolutely love our dog sitter. Rover.com was what was recommended to me. And so we tried that and found this great family, mum and dad and 3 kids, 2 boys and a boy, girl, boy. And they absolutely dote on her, love her, and Zephy loves going there. But the first time we took her over for a night to see how she would do, and she wouldn't have anything to do with the dad, nothing. And he is a guy that has been, him and his wife both grew up around dogs, around foster dogs and all of that sort of stuff, because their parents were involved with dog rescues. And so, of course, for him to be rejected by a dog, he just felt so bad about it. And then I left Zephy with them for 10 days while I went to California for a wedding and with wedding and visit family and stuff. And oh my gosh, that was it was awesome that I was able to get away and go to the wedding and everything. And I got back and they told me that Zephy had nothing to do with the husband the entire time. She wouldn't, if he was in the room, she wouldn't eat. He had to be out of the room or out of the house before Zephy would eat. She wanted nothing to do with him. And when he was around, she was like, but what was interesting is that she went back over there a couple of months later. And I said to them, I says, next time I come over, I says, make sure he is the only one to give her treats. And they're like, oh, that's a really good idea. And what's the matter? You walking around with half a biscuit, Zeph? Come here. Yep, she's got half of it. She's eaten half of her biscuit. She just left it on the floor there. Look, she's got most. She's eaten half of that second piece that I gave her. She's left a lump of it down there. Now she's going to lay down and eat the rest of it. But anyway, so I said, and so when she went back the next time, I reminded them to make sure that the husband's the only one that gives her the treats. And when I went to, and I said, oh, how did it go? And I texted him the next day and I said, how did it go with Zephy last night with? And she sent, and the dog said, I sent a note back going, she said, John walked in the house and Zephy was all over him, like up against him, jumping up on him and everything. Like it was her long lost best friend that she had just seen for the first time in forever. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is awesome. And ever since then, she has been, she loves going over there and spending time with them and interacts with everybody in the family. And so that was really cool. And so they helped get her over. And ever since that incident, she's allowing men to come up to her more often and give her scratches. She's still a little wary of them, but for the most part, with men, she will walk up to them and some of them go to pet her and she'll back off. And others, she will move forward and allow them to pet. So it's interesting, but it's been a lot of love going into that one. And she passed her basic class. We haven't gone back for any other classes because we were traveling. And then, of course, COVID hit. So, that put the kibosh on any of those. But she did get her introductory class done. Over here, Zephy, what's this? Good girl. Was that yummy? Good girl. She hasn't had dinner yet. And so, she loved, and the traveling, she absolutely loved the traveling. She would sit in the co-captain's seat and she'd sit there and just sort of like lean up against the back of the seat while seated and just look out the window. And of course, whenever we left the site, we would start slowly because you're only allowed to go 10 miles an hour. And she'll be whining like, will you speed up? Come on, let's get going. If we're moving, we're moving. Because when we get to a campground, after I checked in, I would take her off her seatbelt and she was allowed up on the dashboard once she figured that one out. She figured that one out on her own. And she would lay down, but if she was standing, she wasn't allowed up there. She had to be laying down so I could see outside the side mirrors. And so, of course, now we're crawling through the campground to leave, and she's sort of like, why am I not allowed up there? But she learned very quickly that she is not allowed up there when she drives, and she tried to jump a couple of times up there, but her seatbelt stopped her from getting too far. And so she'd either sit there and look out the window, or she would lay down on the floor between the two captain seats, and we have the engine hump in the middle because we have the gas, the gasoline engine, and they've got a little hump that goes in the middle between the two seats. And so she would lay there and put her head on the engine thing. And I'm like, why the heck are you putting your head there? That had to be the hottest place in the vehicle that she could put her head. And, we're driving along in the middle of summer when it's like, high 90s, low 3 digits. And she'll be laying there with her head on the engine. One, it's the noisiest thing, and two, it's the hottest thing in the RV at the time. And she would lay there, and she would lay over as close to me as she could get, so I could just reach down and give her scratches. So yeah, so she's been a great traveling companion. Absolutely loves it. We've already marked off on we keep a log of the different campgrounds we go to. And of course, what gets rated in there is, do they have a dog park? What's the condition of their dog park? And there's been a couple that we will never go back to that campground based on the condition of their dog park. That was so disgusting. That I wouldn't. When I first walked into one of them, I'm sort of like, yeah, we're not using it. But I didn't have anywhere else to walk her at the time. And we went into there was one place that had two, and so I checked one and there was like broken bottles in there, and I'm like, yeah, no. And the other one looked a lot safer, but not really. But it was the only place I had for her to go because the whole campground was asphalt. And so that was the only place that was dirt that she could go. And yeah, I'm not staying in that campground again. And there's another one that we're not staying in. One they had too many flies. But their dog park wasn't too bad, and she loved running up and down it. And there was another one that it was a KOA we went to, and I said, "Oh, do you have an off-the-leash dog park area?" And they says, "Oh, yes." This is, but it's not very big, and it was like a 12 by 12 fenced-in area full of poop. Nobody picked up poop from their dog, and I'm like, "Yeah, you're not going in there." And so she was, and so whenever we would go off for walks and stuff, so she had no off. Fortunately, we're only there for a couple of nights, and we're only there for the 2 nights, so 1 full day. And so she never got off the leash during that time, but we went for nice walks around this park. And they actually had a nice park with a lake, but they didn't maintain their dog park area. And the grass was overgrown. There's poop all over the place. And yeah, so she had no off the leash time in that one. But then we've had other ones where they've had really amazing dog park areas, like large ones that have been like an acre or half an acre or 3/4 of an acre, and very well fenced in and very well maintained. And Zephy's had a blast ripping around those places. So yeah, but she's been a really good companion, and I can't believe she's 5 today. 5 today, Zephy. She's still a pup. I still call her my pup. I don't care if she's 13 years old, she will still be a puppy. I just think it's a mama thing. So yeah, so that's, she's traveled over 6,000 miles in the RV. I've traveled over 12,000 miles in the RV since I purchased it 5 years ago. And actually, we're coming up on the 5th year anniversary for that too. 6 years. Hang on. I got it 2019. Yes, it'll be 5 years this year. 5 years on May 4th. So yeah, in the 5 years I've had it, we've done over 12,000 miles in it, and over 6,000 of it has been done with Zephy. So she's been with it for half the life of the traveling and that sort of thing too. But I am so glad, and I will tell you this, I am so grateful that I have had her. I'm so grateful that I have her with me for the journeys and everything else, because I've thought back over this, and I thought, with where I was mentally at the time when I got her, I would basically just sit in the RV. I wouldn't go anywhere unless it was to go get groceries. And I would just spend the day in the RV. I wouldn't get out, and I wouldn't go for a walk or anything. I'd only go out to get groceries, maybe go to the storage unit, and that was about it. Or the bookstore. There was one place I rented a car when I was in Tucson, and because I did a trip to Arizona. I was in here for a month, and I stayed at the campground that I went back to, where I was for the last 2 years. Then we're down in Tucson, and they've got a really good KOA down there, which had a great dog park. And from there, I went down to Tombstone and spent a day there. And so after that, and that was October, and then after I got back from that, it was like a couple of weeks later that I got Zephy. So yeah, she's been with me since that trip, and we've been all over the place and had a lot of fun along the way. Met some great people, and oh yeah, Tony and Brett, she was good with them. Forgot about that. Yeah, we went over to their house for dinner one evening, and they said, "Oh yeah, you can bring Zephy with her." And so Zephy got to play with their dogs, and Zephy found, she makes herself at home very quickly. She very quickly found out where their dog's food was, where their food bowl was. she She had that thing worked out in like, I think it was less than a minute after coming into the house that Zephy figured out where the dog's food was. And yeah. But she made herself, she wandered all around and made herself at home and played with the dogs and ate their food. But she was really good with Brett and Tony, and yeah, those two she was really good with them. It's just all the other males. I guess because we were in their house, I don't know. But yeah, she was very good with them. But any other males wouldn't have anything to do with them unless they had treats in their hand. So, but anyway, that's it for the birthday celebration. This other piece, that's all I got left of that little biscuit now. That was this one. So she will get the rest of this tomorrow. So she's... She? Oh, there you are. Joking at me like, I'm hearing the wrapper. You gonna come say bye to everybody? Some people have wished you happy birthday. Come here. Good girl. There we go. Up we go. Ah. Can you say bye-bye? You gonna say bye to everybody? You got Susie and Tony that have wished you happy birthday. You remember Tony with his dogs? Yeah? And eating all their dog food? Yeah? There you go. I can't operate the mouse with you up there. Anyway, that's it from us for today. So go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. If you've got a dog, let us know. Send me a private message and I'll send you a link so Zephy can send them a birthday card, because Zephy likes to send birthday cards to dogs. So private message me and I will send you the link so that you can sign up so that Zephy will send your dog a birthday card. Okay, that's it from us for tonight. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hey, konara.